So obviously I've been making me TikTok videos that are trying to be suppressed. Look at the effort that's been put into, especially by members of Sinn Féin, I have to say, to try and suppress this information from getting out, as they try and push through a bill to suppress people like me from speaking on social media about outing the truth. Like, they already have laws to kind of deal with people who are defaming people, like they've criminalised these acts. So they have laws already where the guards can get involved, so that these people can be brought to court, like, and face kind of illegal action. But now they want further laws and legislation passed so they can like totally suppress the truth coming out. Like it's a crazy situation. Like, anyone with half a brain will see the red flags, do you know what I mean, around this whole situation and like what's going on. Like I only want to tell my story, and like I'm open then to answering any kind of questions, and then I'm going to upload documentation that supports my story as well also. I'm reading actually off a piece of paper here, that's why I keep looking down in case anyone is wondering. And the t-shirt says water for supports in-house corruption, just in case anyone is wondering. And as I'm going to upload this onto TikTok, I know there's only 10 minutes, so like the full video of this is going to be on my YouTube channel, and I'll upload the link. And the reason that they don't want this getting out, like if I'm being honest with you, it's going to reflect so badly, right, on a number of organisations: Waterford Gardaí, Tussle, Sinn Féin, do you know what I mean, Waterford Council, not to mention ex-minister John Halligan and co, which is like more or less like kind of children's group link and those involved in it, and what's been covered up for 20 odd years. So like every effort have been made to provoke me. And the stuff like kind of I find hard talking because I'm not burying both my parents, and kind of this was used. These were used as opportunities to kind of like to try and provoke me. Like, me mother went through hell, if I'm being honest with you. Like, she was like she was harassed by a member of Sinn Féin, next door neighbour, who would bang a slitter off my mother's bedroom wall when she was waiting to kind of like pass away. This person, another thing then, my father had only passed away a couple of years beforehand, but he put a stereo on my mother's wall, and he played my father's funeral song on loop all day long, over and over and over along. And this is kind of like, this is your Sinn Féin, do you know what I mean? This is your cronyism, do you know what I mean? This person has previous for assaulting juveniles. He has previous, do you know what I mean, for intimidating a woman, do you know what I mean? And he was left carry on like this behaviour, and the guards were called. And I didn't go out now because I probably would have responded, but my brother went down and he rang the guards, and the guards informed my brother that sure, your man is drinking all day, trying to ignore him. So my mother like was elderly, sitting in the house having to listen to this. And like, I'm going to go into details about all this, and I'm kind of uncomfortable talking about it, but it needs to be spoken about. Like, the public has a right to hear this information, do you know what I mean? I'm not making stuff up, and if I am, as I said, there's legislation in place. You can hold me accountable. Like, I'm open to being brought to court. Like, do you know what I mean? If I'm lying or embellishing even the truth, I'm open to being brought to court. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Like, when I tell you something for nothing, if they try and set me up and jail me, like, I will be going on hunger strike, and like, I'm 100% like adamant on that, because this needs to come out. And the supposed gatekeepers, like ministers up in the door and all this, like, and their TDs and Waterford, like, you're happy enough to rub shoulders with those at the centre of this, like, hoping that a couple of crumbs might be swept off the table that might come your way, do you know what I mean? Like it's despicable to think that like the victims from that children's group link were put through what they were put through, if I'm being honest with you. All because you want to rub shoulders with those at the heart of this. I just want to bring up things there that people think I have an issue with Sinn Féin. I actually don't. Do you know what I mean? I wrote an email to Miss Mary Lou MacDonald. I wrote her several emails actually, and I emphasised in the very first email that my issue was a personal issue with David Conlan, who sent me wife a friend request. I showed this in previous videos. And there was lots of other stuff regarding corruption of a psychologist in Tussle. And she basically told me that I should report it to the guards. Like, report what to the guards? What should I report to the guards? Like, so you're aware of what's going on. Like, if you're telling me to report to the guards, you're aware of what's going on then. Do you know what I mean? But as I was going, But what I wanted to say is, like, I don't have an issue with Sinn Féin as a party. I have an issue with some of their thugs throwing their weight around, if I'm being honest with you. Like, there's John Hearn from Waterford. Like, I think he's a better candidate than Mr. David Cullinane. Do you know what I mean? If I'm being honest with you, like, I'm going to say it like it is. Do you know what I mean? You don't hear your rumours about John Hearn. Let's be honest about it, that you hear about Mr. Cullinane. Let's be honest about it. There's not the dirt following John Hearn. So I don't have any issue like with Sinn Féin. And actually previously I would have sent emails to Miss Breda Brennan, also from Waterford, and I have nothing bad to say about her either. But it should be like a major red flag that I can't get my story out. Like, I'm 10 years trying to get the story out. 10 years when you think about it. Like, what's so worrying for people that they won't let this story get out? Like, do you know what I mean? If I'm lying, then you can hold me accountable and you can send me to jail and you get rid of me out of Waterford and you get what you want. There's only concern if I'm telling the truth. So let it come out and let the people of Ireland hear what has gone on. Like, the political influence, like, and the abuse of political influence up in that children's group link, like, has been it's astounding, being honest with you. Like, as a charity itself, I don't have an issue with the charity. It's actually a great charity and it means well, and there's a lot of good people up there. Do you know what I mean? But like, the way it was used, the nepotistic way it's been used to push kind of a family to the forefront, basically, for their own merit, I think is absolutely disgraceful. Do you know what I mean? Like, people should have been given jobs up to that, weren't given jobs. It was all kept within a small circle of cronies, and it's despicable. And it should have been investigated years ago. But like, as I said, it's all covered up for 20 odd years, and you have the guards who covered it up. And as I spoke about in my last video, like, the guards knocking on somebody's door to threaten him, like, on a civil matter. Since when did the Gardaí knock on somebody's door to enforce civil law? Like, that's illegal. That woman has the case. Do you know what I mean? But it goes to show you, someone high ranking has enough power to be able to contact Waterford Gardaí to be able to send guards to threaten someone at their door, rather than let the truth get out. Like, I've been assaulted, I think, 6 times, beaten up. Like, I've had my character destroyed. I've lost numerous houses, and I'm going to get into the kind of impact it's having on my family. Do you know what I mean? But I'll bend, I won't break to this stuff. I can tell you that. Because the truth needs to come out, and the truth is going to come out. And if you're telling me, right, that our Republican heroes of old, our forefathers, like sacrificed what they sacrificed, do you know what I mean? They paved the way for the cronies that they are now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's absolutely despicable. I don't look up to these people. I don't. I'd be well read regarding republicanism and all that, and kind of like, I just don't see the connection from like the old republicanism and what's there now. There's just another branch of kind of what's there already. There's glorified lawyers in suits. If I'm being honest with you, like, I'm saying it like it is. And I refuse to be intimidated by these people, and it's as simple as that. And if I have to like be beaten up again or like shot as I've been like threatened, like so be it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I'll continue saying what I'm saying. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because it needs to come out. Sinn Féin, and if you notice one thing about Sinn Féin, like have Sinn Féin an interest in like bettering the country? Do you know what I mean? Or have they interest in just taking over leadership of the country? Because there's a difference. Like, are you going to like change what's already broken? Are you like, it seems that they're only more interest now in like wanting to lead the country. Do you know what I mean? We've all seen the fiasco with Jonathan Dowdall. Like, I don't want to keep going on about all this kind of stuff. Like, but their support now with David Cullinane through all this, I think personally, is very misplaced. I think the same support could have been given to John Hearn, if I'm being honest with you. Like, I've spoke about how Henry Halligan passed private emails that I had sent to a priest, and I had mentioned Mr. Cullinane in the emails. So like, what connection would Henry Halligan have that he would feel the need to like print off private emails, keep them from the priest, who was a family friend, by the way, and pass them back to David Cullinane? Do you know what I mean? Like, so what's the weird connection there between the two of them? Henry Halligan, that was the brother of John Halligan, ex-mayor, ex-minister. He used to be kind of in and out of children's group link, as we know. I think they should lead by example, if I'm being honest with you. I had a reporter a couple of years ago. I can't really go into details too much because I don't want to be naming names of people that were good enough to kind of give me advice. And they looked into this for me, and they were a bit put off. I'll just put it that way. They were from Dublin. It was one of the red top newspapers, and he looked into it, and he came back and he said, "I'll have to step away from it." And he said, "I'll just give you a word of advice before I do that. There's political powers within Dublin, applying pressure to make sure that this story doesn't get out." And he was good enough to tell me that, and then he stepped away. But I think journalism in general in Ireland is like dead in the water. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the integrity in the craft of following a story and outing a story? They're more interested in rubbing shoulders with these people. Do you know what I mean? Like, one of the girls, I've spoken of this there now, and I'm not going to mention any names if anyone thinks I'm going to mention anyone's names of anything they've confided in me or any messages they sent, because I'm not, and you should know, I'm not like that. But one girl was driven out of her hometown for 20 odd years because all she wanted to do was speak about what happened to her. That's absolutely deplorable. Do you know what I mean? And how can TDs and journalists, there's journalists knows about this and there's TDs knows about this, and how can they all know about this and still sit in the same room at the same table with the people that conducted what they conducted? The situation I'm in now is crazy as it is, and I know it is crazy, and I must probably sound somewhat crazy, but this all began for me with a corrupt social worker in 2008, and my ex, who I met in Ashery in rehab. She's from Dublin, Ballymun, and I'm going to talk about all of this because it needs to be out how poisonous these people are, and it needs to highlight of what Tusla is actually protecting. And I'm going to have to talk about this. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go back and talk about all this, and it really kills me talking about this because it's really tough, and you'll see by the way that I'm talking about this, you'll see how crazy it is and why it's so tough and why I responded in some of my previous videos that to be up on YouTube. You can see how irate I was and how I was struggling to kind of string these sentences together because I'm not used to talking on this kind of whole camera kind of thing. But the message of what I'm saying is pretty much the same, if I'm being honest with you. You can kind of, if you read between the lines, never mind how badly you said it is, or at times I even had to put subtitles on some of my videos because it was slurring my speech and stuff but I was just so irate. But I'm going to have to talk about all this, and I'm going to have to out all this kind of stuff, and the stuff I have to talk about in my own life and my own family, which I'm not too keen to talk about, but in the interest of public awareness, it has to be spoken about. What exactly does our constitution mean? Is this what our constitution means, based on cover-ups and cronies, and these people have virtually wiped their arse with our constitution? Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, I would have been kind of somewhat kind of looking up to kind of republicanism years ago, but after seeing kind of the way it's been handled the last kind of 2 decades, I've really kind of gone against it, if I'm being honest with you. I would have sold drugs there 20 years ago. I have a pass for selling drugs, unfortunately. Part of growing up, something I regret, something I can't get away from. And there's a lot of issues that I know. They know that I know certain things about certain people, and they're scared shitless that I'm going to talk about this. And to be honest with you, I am going to talk about this 100%. And if this endangers my life, or if I have to be beaten up yet again over it or whatever, or threats, so be it. Because as I said, this needs to come out. I'm only requiring, basically, to just tell my side of the story, and then I'm open to obviously, as I said, any kind of questioning. But I will add loads of support. I have loads of supporting documents. A lot of these documents, they're actually stolen from my apartment. Someone went in and stole them. It's a long story. And then my emails were all hacked and they're all deleted and stuff. But my wife was able to get a lot of the emails back through the cloud. And basically the shit has hit the fan because now I have the evidence, and this is why they won't look into it. Because to be honest with you, they've already looked into this and they've seen that I'm after telling the truth. So now they purposely won't look into it because it's going to it's going to impact so many so-called professional pillars of the community in Waterford. Like, how can you have like multiple people, right, all come forward, right, come to the guards, give statements individually, give statements, and for the guards then to go through all these girls one by one and say there's no evidence for this, there's no evidence for that, there's no evidence. There's evidence in the fact there's a group of people like claiming the same thing against the same people. Do you know what I mean? Like, that alone is evidence. They're all corroborating each other's story. Are they not? Do you know what I mean? Like in the industrial schools and all that kind of stuff, and the priests, like, they weren't asked for evidence. Do you know what I mean? And these people that have come forward, do you know what I mean? And like the files sent to the DPP, I've said this in the last video, sure, nobody knows what was sent to the DPP. Do you know what I mean? The high-ranking guards in Waterford are rubbing shoulders with the accused, so nobody really knows. Like, do you know what I mean? This should have been independently investigated because there's a gross conflict of interest. A gross conflict of interest. And actually, and I wanted to say that it was actually a solicitor told me this. Like, she couldn't make out. I had to go out of town and I spoke to the solicitor and I was explaining it to her, and she couldn't like make out how these people who weren't given support formed a group. Do you know what I mean? Because like, obviously this is the way you will go about this. Instead, they were advised to keep all the stories like separate, keep it all separate to protect the people, basically. And that's basically what happened. These people were treated like, the girls that came forward, I'm not joking with you, they were kind of like treated almost like with contempt. Do you know what I mean? Or disdain. You seen it there in 2013-14, I think it was Miss Cahill. I don't like bringing up that woman's name because I know she suffered a lot at the hands of members of Sinn Féin again, where they tried to suppress this woman wanting her justice for what was after happening to her, where there were slogans even painted on across the road from her house, and she was kind of harassed to no end because she wanted to out her abusers. And it's much the same, if I'm being honest with you. It's the same kind of like the concern was how it's going to look on the party rather than hold the people accountable. Like, the issue was like, it's going to look bad on the party. Do you know what I mean? Like, if it comes to it, I have several messages there that were given to me in privacy regarding a situation, because I had put up on YouTube these people had interfered with my mother's funeral, tried to, like, it's a crazy situation, and I put up about stuff that I seen up in children's group, because I actually worked up there and I paid a stamp with the taxman, so it's all on record up there. And I seen some stuff, and so did two of my kind of work colleagues. So like, but if all comes to all, sorry, I jumped the gun there. People had approached me that basically met a stone wall, basically by the Waterford Gardaí, who wouldn't let their story kind of get out, basically. So they came to me and they told me their story, and kind of like, I didn't tell each other, like, I didn't tell them that I knew this story about this person or that story. Like, anything was said to me was said to me in confidence. But it's much the same kind of thing, like the whole kind of bringing people off and kind of like for spins and all this kind of stuff. Horrible kind of stuff, if I'm being honest with you. But if needs be, I'm going to read some of these messages. I won't say anyone's name, and I'll make sure like anyone's identity is perfectly kind of like secured. And like, I will face any kind of legal ramifications, or if I have to face jail, like, that's not an issue whatsoever for me. But if needs be, I'm going to read these just to show what's been covered up and what actually happened. So I'll leave it there now. So I'll upload the short one, the 10-minute one, on a TikTok, and I'll upload the long one on my YouTube channel, and I'll put up the link with this underneath what I have to say, basically. And I'll get back to you in a couple of days, because I'm going to do an interview with someone who's either agreeing to let me speak on camera, and they want to ask me some questions and stuff, and ask me what documentation I have. And the reason I don't upload this documentation, because I'll be giving these people like the opportunity to kind of like clean up that mess, if I'm being honest with you. And sometimes you don't want to reveal too much of your hand, which is what I was doing in the past because I was too hasty. So I'm going to leave it there, and thanks for anyone that likes or shares my videos, and I'll leave it there. Thanks.